And a good spiritual morning to you once again. Thanks for joining us today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Christos Anesti. Christ is risen. We're happy to be with you today. Thank you for joining us. We hope
Truly
you're having a really
risen.
nice day.
Yeah, I was taking a sip, so I couldn't respond. Truly he is risen. We thought we'd do something a little bit more fun today. Take a break from some of the serious videos we've been doing in the past, or I was doing. Welcome back.
Yeah.
We missed you.
Thank you.
Last week, I got a lot of, not comments on the channel, but people at the parish. When's Presbytera coming back? It's
She's fired.
Gee, thanks. I won't take that personally.
Summer's coming, so we're going to do something a little light today.
So we should, So we watched a movie. We got a lot of recommendations. We always get recommendations. Father, you should watch this.
Yeah.
I know you watch movies and review them once in a while. How do you say it?
Yeah, Nonnas.
Nonnas?
I keep saying Yayas, but it's not funny because it's not the name of the movie.
Well, this is the Italian version of
Nonnas.
That.
It's on Netflix.
It's a movie. Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it's one of their newer movies. And it's starring Vince Vaughn. He's the main character, Vince Vaughn. And it's basically, so we have to say spoilers, right? So if you're planning on watching the movie and you don't want us to give, then be careful. Don't watch this.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Watch the movie first, because we're going to be discussing it, and so we are saying spoilers. We're going to be talking about the movie. So basically, summarizing it, it's kind of a movie about honoring, sort of previous generations, and it's this idea, and it's based on a true story.
Yep.
Which
Staten
they
Island,
say
New York,
that at the beginning, and it's like based on a true story. It's like one of those things. It's like, what? Someone owned a restaurant. That's based on
Someone's
a true
grandmother
story.
Passed away.
So, but this is the idea of a guy who loses his mother. The movie starts with him losing his mother. He's not married. That's Vince Vaughn's character, and he's aimless in his life. He doesn't know what to do. His mother leaves him some money, so he has some money, and he's trying to figure out what to do. And so he has this wonderful connection to his nonna, his grandmother. I guess grandmother in Italian is nonna. In Greek, we would say yaya, right? And so it's very much in Italian culture, this movie. And so it's this idea that he has this connection to his mother and to his nonna, his grandmother, especially through food.
Yeah, through the kitchen.
Through
he
the
has
kitchen,
all his
through
memories,
the cooking.
Yeah.
He has the memories of being a little kid and of seeing them cook together and Sunday dinners and,
shopping for produce and learning how to do things the right way.
Yeah. And so he gets this idea that what a great feeling that was to have that connection. Everyone loves going to their grandmother's house and eating her cooking. So he wants to open a restaurant where the cooks are grandmothers. The cooks are nonnas.
Yeah.
And they're the ones. And so when you go there, you're like family. It's like an Italian family. And you're going there and your grandmother is cooking the food that she made.
You remember as a child. And
And then that's the restaurant. So that's kind of the gimmick. And of course, it's the struggle of, I forgot. So his friend, the other guy you would know is Joe Manganiello. Is that how you say that?
I don't know how to say. You would all recognize him.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello. He's like his best friend.
Yeah.
And so it's the ordeal of him going through using the inheritance to buy a restaurant. And then, of course, how to get the place fixed up and how to get the permits and do all of that stuff. Find the cooks.
Yeah, he's motivated by love, but not practicality. He doesn't know how to open a restaurant. He doesn't know how to do the business aspect of it.
Right.
But he's leading with his heart. So
he really shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But he does it anyway.
Yeah.
And then of course, through like hiring somebody for the restaurant, he ends up running into an old high school sweetheart. I forget her name. Sorry, I don't remember her name. But you recognize her.
All these people, yeah.
And so of course they kind of reconnect. They start falling in love. So there's a little bit of a love story, but not. It's kind of just a very side.
It's very nice.
Yeah,
it's very sweet.
A side story there. And so then you've got Susan Sarandon. The Nonnas, I don't remember all of their names. But
you'll be pleasantly surprised by these wonderful actresses.
Susan Sarandon is one of them. Talia Shire from Rocky, right? Yeah. And The Godfather.
Adrian.
She's one of Adrian's one of them. Talia Shire. I forget the other two. They're sort of lesser well-known actresses, older actresses. And so there's four of them that they get, four of these grandmothers to come in and sort of cook. And to
dishes
be able
from
to
their area of Italy and their specialty and things that meant a lot to their family, their specialty dishes.
And so so that's the summary of the movie.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
did you like it? Did you not like it? Could you recommend it?
Yeah.
What do you think? You go first, then I'll go. Yeah, I'm always the
Okay.
mean one, so I'll go
yeah.
second. I'm hypercritical of cinema, so you go next.
I enjoyed it. There was one scene I would have cut out of the movie. I enjoyed it because as a, let's call it a chick flick or rom-com,
Right.
I enjoyed the love of his parent, of his mother, of his grandmother. I enjoyed the emotion of it. I thought the love story was cute. It was very simple. I appreciate that. I'm kind of tired of the MA ratings of movies. And this was a very, like, anybody could walk through the room and it was an okay kind of movie.
Right.
I thought his intentions were very sweet. I liked it. I liked watching people cook. I'm not a great cook, and so I really appreciated seeing
I beg to
that.
differ with that.
I appreciated seeing that. I liked it. I just had my only thing, and we've talked about this, was just one scene I wish they would have cut out because I felt like Hollywood got in there and tried to make
Okay.
it, whatever. So
So you have to say what that scene was. You
Okay.
can't just say that what scene was, was there a murder scene? Was there a sex scene? No, you just said no. So what was the
good.
scene?
So the grandmothers
Probably was the same scene that I didn't like.
Okay, the grandmothers were together and they were spending a little quality time as they were waiting for the restaurant to open.
Right.
And they were telling their life stories so that they could get to know each other. So you know that these four women were not friends before the main character got them together for his restaurant.
Right. The Vince Vaughn character just puts an ad in the paper.
Yeah.
And so there's just these older ladies answering an ad.
The
And then the
Nonnas,
one
yeah.
is a friend of the family that he compels to actually do it because
Right.
she bakes and they need sweets. And
Right.
so he wants her desserts. But yeah, otherwise.
I just felt some of their backstories were a little, you're better at the wording than I am, like just a little too Hollywood. Well, we have to have this representation.
dicey.
And, yeah. Well, you had to have, this representation and that representation.
You can say what it was. So you have,
Yeah, I just, the one was like, I don't need a man and I've never been married and I'm just fine. And, I, this and that.
Right,
And
so
I
the
thought,
one there was-
and she's in her late 70s.
They're all
and
grandmother
They're
age.
grandmothers, yeah.
So there was one that was kind of like, I don't want to say anti-marriage, but there was one
Yeah.
like, it's okay that I've never chosen that path. I never wanted a man in my life. I never wanted to be married. I've had men, of course. So there's one
I was
sort
like,
of,
all right, we're going down that road.
There's
Yeah.
different, pockets that they're representing
Yeah.
and the one's representing that. The other one sort of was married, but for whatever reason, I guess she's just a terrible mother. She never gets along. She doesn't talk to her kids.
Yeah, she's
So
like,
she
I'm
was a
just a
very
hard lady and I don't speak to my children. And I thought, okay, what demographic does that represent? And
Right. And then there was
like an ex-nun. I just felt bad. I thought, could we just have these beautiful nonnas and be a part of the story? I'm wondering, based on a true story, I'm wondering if that was actually the nonnas in real life.
Ex-nun with an alternative lifestyle.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, you're really kind of
as grandmothers are,
Yeah.
as we all have one of those in our family. Don't we all have the ex-nun who was kind of a lesbian?
So I just wish those 10 minutes.
yeah.
I'm like, can we
They
just get
needed
back to
their
the story?
you needed your little, you had to check your box for
Yeah.
it to be able to make it, your Hollywood box. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, what groups are you being inclusive of? Where's your DEI?
Right.
And but
for the rest of the movie, I thought there was a real sweetness to honoring grandmothers and mothers and family time.
Right.
That's something I feel like as our children are getting older, we're losing more and more because the kids, it's harder to get people around a table. And so that part of the movie did tug at my heart a little bit, saying, wow, what a beautiful thing to have. I mean, if we could just even have Sunday night dinners, but this seemed like something where it was very important to the character that he missed that time with those people around a table eating good food.
yeah.
So it
So,
was sweet.
for me, it was okay. It was slow and predictable. If you want slow and predictable, you know what you're getting. So if if you're, especially if you're of Italian descent or you're Italian, then the movie's probably going to really speak to you because it, is obviously a lot. But I think even for us as Greek, Mediterranean or anybody that's, really kind of got that sort of mentality about gathering around food in that way, it will speak to you. So there's that part. I did enjoy the fact that it was meant to be a family movie. So it's very clean. There's no, I don't know what it's rated.
It was like PG-14 or whatever.
It's very
says
clean.
nowadays,
There's
whatever.
really no swearing. There's no, dicey scenes. It's meant to be enjoyed by a family.
Yeah.
It's something that you could watch with your mother if you,
Just skip the part where the nonnas are talking in the beauty
Well,
parlor.
no, even that wasn't that bad.
Okay.
That was just kind of an obvious like that didn't really make it in. It didn't match the storyline.
Yeah.
It was like there was this storyline where you didn't need that, and all of a sudden they kind of stuck that scene in.
It was forced.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a little forced, but that's okay. It's not something that I particularly enjoyed, just because, like I said, it was slow, sort of chick flick. Kind of hate to say it was kind of a chick flick, but it was sort of a movie geared toward women, and especially older women. It's not something that, a guy's guy is going to probably enjoy, but you can stomach it if your wife wants to watch it. You watch it with your wife. So I enjoyed that idea of it. But what I do think as a take home for us, or something to think about, is, like you said, it was a lot about honoring family, honoring previous generations. The sweetest part is sort of the rest. So they end up making it, and it is based on a true story. And at the end, they show you like the scenes of the actual people and clips and video clips of the actual restaurant and the actual Vince Vaughn character and his friend, the Joe Manganiello character, and all that. So it's kind of neat to see that it was a real place on Staten Island. It ends up being on Staten Island, even though they're in Brooklyn or the Bronx.
He grew up in Brooklyn, but the restaurant's there,
in Staten Island. But I like the idea of, the honoring. The sweetest scene is when it works, then they call the four Nonnas out. It's like an open kitchen, so you can kind of see them working in the kitchen, but they come out and then they get a big round of applause. So this idea that they're never honored, they're never respected, and then they finally get some honor and some respect.
It was sweet.
We should be honoring and respecting the last generation and the generations that came before us. They really sacrificed and worked hard and dealt with things that we have no comprehension of nowadays.
Yeah.
But the idea of utilizing food as a way of gathering as a family, that's also been kind of lost. But in whatever way you can do it, even if it's DoorDash, in whatever way you can do it, to sort of say it's a way of gathering our family.
Yeah.
It's a way of getting together and making sure we stay together. We get around a table once a week. If you can't do it every night or 2 or 3 nights a week, at least you got Sunday dinner. Yeah. To think about that Sunday dinner tradition where we get together, or even if, what, the week is tough, it's hard to figure out with work, with 2 parents working, with all the kids' schedules, with everything going on that we're doing, it's hard for us to get. But on Sunday, we plan our Sunday dinner and we know what we're making, and we're making something together as a family. That's the other thing, like that he learns to cook because he's in the kitchen as a little boy.
That was really sweet.
Right. So that idea that there's some connection there to his mother and his grandmother through that we all have that. Yeah. And we connect as a family, because if we're not connecting as a family and staying connected emotionally, it's easy for us to disconnect spiritually. And it kind of maintains that connection for us spiritually. We want to make sure we are connected together and that we have a support system when things happen in our lives, that we're connected. Yeah. And that we have that support system. And that's an important thing to have spiritually. The church is just an extension of that. Yeah. I mean, remember that the home is the little church. St. John Chrysostom says the home, the house, is the family. It's the little church. Yeah. And so we start good spiritual habits there. And if that place is dysfunctional, then we're just going to take that dysfunction right into the church itself. And we're going to carry that dysfunction into our own spiritual lives and have more baggage to deal with. So the healthier our family can be, the healthier our spiritual life is going to be. And so whatever we can do to make our family life healthy, it's going to help reinforce positive things in our connection with God.
Beautiful.
And so that's something to think about. What I took away from it is, wow, we really need to make more of an intentional effort, be more intentional about gathering together around our table for dinner time, having an actual dinner time, and connecting with our as a family,
staying connected,
maintaining tradition, even if it's a tradition through food, but whatever else good traditions. My family growing up, we had Bible study. I can remember being a little kid, after dinner, my dad had his big Bible and he would open the Bible and read a little bit. Wow. And that was connected to dinner time. Whatever it might be that we connect together and have that tradition is a benefit. And so that was a good takeaway. And then we connect and keep those traditions so that we can grow in our relationship with Christ and do that each and every day.
Amen.